So, welcome to another episode of Thriving After 30. My name's Priya.
And I'm Kayla.
So, this episode is a personal one. So, in 2021, I lost my dad to suicide. He'd struggled with his mental health for a very long time. And despite reaching out to a number of professionals, he was dismissed and let down by the system. As a black man, talking about mental health is very hard. And it wasn't something the family really wanted to kind of grasp the concept of, and also like the people around us as well. So today I want to talk about what happens when men don't get the help that they need. And when families are left out and their thoughts and feelings aren't considered, and the lasting impact suicide leaves once that person is gone. So this conversation might be heavy, but it's a conversation that needs to be had, especially given that it is Movember.
Yep.
And that is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I thought I'd share my story. Well, my dad's story.
So, Movember. You might know it by seeing moustaches, men who are deciding not to shave their moustaches for the month of November, but it's much more than that. It's about men's mental health and suicide prevention. Okay, so Priya, talk me through the day you found out about your dad.
So I went to Originals Festival 2021, had a great time. And you know, everything happens for a reason, because I was actually meant to go to like a party after that probably wouldn't have like ended till God knows what time. And I would have been even more hanging than I was. But someone said to me, no, Priya, take yourself home. And I was at home and I remember someone banging at the door and I could hear like walkie-talkies. I thought, oh, why did what is going on here? I thought, this is mad. Like, what's happened? And I remember answering the door and they were like, are you Priya, da, 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 da. And I was thinking, yeah, because now I'm like, rah, this is actually about me. Like, you ain't got the wrong door. And they were like, yeah, we've got some really bad, sad news. Your dad's passed away. And I just remember I had my dog in my hands. I'm not going to lie. I fucking dropped the dog. I was like I felt this shock go through my body, and I remember screaming. And I didn't want to scream because obviously the kids were in the house, and you know, I didn't want to draw attention to the situation, but that's all I could kind of do at that moment in time. Like, no one prepares you for that knock. Let me tell you that. No one prepares you for that moment. It was like, wow, this is intense. And I was like, okay. And they were like, you know, we're really sorry, whatever. In that moment, I was just in shock. And I was like, what do I do now? Do I go there? Do I not go there? And I'm so like, now I kick myself because I wish I went there. Like, my partner was the one who went there, and I think he saw him getting taken out, where I was like, I need to get to my mum and brother. And I remember it just raining. I'm in the car, I'm on the way. I've called my brother, I've called my mum, everyone just like, what the fuck is going on? It really didn't sink in what was happening. And then I had to tell the kids, but then in your head, you're trying to make up like why this has happened, because you don't want them to, no one wants to tell a child that. And it took some time before I could actually even tell my son. I've only just told him now that he's older, now that he's got his GCSEs out the way. And that was like a big weight lifted.
So I know you said that your dad had struggled with his mental health and it was something that was ongoing. Did you ever think it would get to this?
So I always kind of knew that this was going to happen because he used to say it. He used to say it all the time. He used to call me and be like, I've had enough. This is it. And for me, it was just like, one day we're going to get that call. And because I wasn't really close with my family, like, we didn't speak all the time. Me and my mum and my brother, it's like every time that they called, I'll be thinking, is this it?
Mm-hmm.
And I reached out. I remember writing a big letter to the social care, adult social care, and saying, he is going to do this. I need him to get the right help. And they literally kind of ignored me. You know, it was kind of dismissed. Well, he doesn't want to engage with mental health services. He doesn't want to engage with a social worker. So there's nothing we can do. And it was a bit like, how do you expect someone in that mind, like that, in that, the mind that they're in right now, to be like, yeah, I want to talk to you. Yeah. It doesn't work like that. And I remember my dad had this thing called like white coat syndrome. I think it's called that. Mm-hmm. Anyways, where if you go into hospital, you kind of freak out. Okay. And I think it like raises your blood pressure. I could be wrong. I can't remember. He used to tell me this. But I remember taking him to the hospital, finally getting him to the hospital, to go and see the mental health team. And they were like, oh, you know, as a black man, they're just going to pump you full of drugs. And I thought, why the fuck would you tell him this right now? Like, why would you tell him this? I remember one day him sending me a picture with all his hair shaved off. And my dad always had beautiful hair. Yeah, always had beautiful hair. And I called the police and I was like, something's wrong with my dad. He shaved all his hair off and they're just acting like it's normal. And I thought, you don't understand. This is someone from his family calling out. Yeah. He is in a crisis right now and he needs help. So he was like this, he sent me a picture and I proper freaked out because my whole 29 years, I've always known you to have hair. Yeah. So it was like a major shock to me, like what the fuck is going on? So I was like, I'm going to have to go down there. He's like, this is it. Like, this is the last time you're going to see me. So I remember going down there and I remember where he was living, like you could see a big like curtains and I could just see a shadow and it looked like someone was dropped between the curtains. And I remember thinking, I need to get in this house. Mm-hmm. I'm calling the police. I'm like, look, I feel like something's happening there. They're like, you need to try and get it. No, 1999, like you need to try and get in. I'm thinking, how am I getting in this place? Like now you've got me trying to boot down doors. Yeah. And I'll be honest, there's multiple times I've had to go down places and be kicking down, punching down why am I having to do that when there's professionals out here that should be coming to support? Anyways, I finally got in. And I remember going up there and, you know, when someone's laying there, but he was pretending he was dead at the time. And then I went up to him and I pulled the sheets and my heart was beating because sometimes with people with mental health, you don't know how they're going to react in that situation. Yeah. So I was scared and I'm in the house by myself. I've gone in there and I remember seeing the knives in the bed and I thought, oh my fucking God. So I've run downstairs, I've called the police and they're like, I'm on the phone to the police. I'm like, look, someone needs to get here. Luckily, they came. Well, not luckily they came because they came, but they came with pure aggression. You know, they're like, come upstairs. Obviously, by then he's moved everything. Mm-hmm. And that was the thing with my dad is that when he was engaging with the mental health people, the social workers, when they'd come, he'd act normal. So they wouldn't see it. So they came in and were like, there's nothing wrong with him, nothing we can do. We're just going to leave it here. Then the ambulance crew, one thing I can say about the people that did help, see that ambulance crew? They came through, boy, they sat with him, they were pleading with him to come to the hospital. And I don't know if there was a mixed race lady there, and I don't know if she kind of understood. I feel like with the police officers, most of them were white men, and I feel like as a black man, it's hard enough to open up. Might as well a white man coming in with a certain amount, like certain authority, it's hard. So I think as well, like towards the end, his behaviour could become erratic. Like he'd be on the phone, like shouting at me all the time, sending me abusive messages. But I knew that weren't him. Yeah. And I think for professionals, now looking at it, now I've seen his records and that it's like, oh yeah, he was swearing at this one. My dad never used to be that person. Anyone who knows my dad, if you came to the house, you had to say, good afternoon, Mr. Wilson. Good morning, Mr. Wilson. He was always that person, very well mannered, dressed like very sharp, hair looked proper. And so these people come in and they just said, oh, there's an angry black man. You know, there's this angry black man. He's moving erratic, even though I knew he was moving erratic, but I knew why. Yeah. And for me, it was very emotionally draining. I wanted to help him so much, But it was like he would bring up things from the past, like growing up. I saw the signs from when I was young, but his behavior was just erratic. And for me, there were times where I had to be like, I'm putting my hand up and saying, this is it. I'm blocking you for a bit. I used to go to him, I'm blocking you because I can't deal with you right now. Because on top of dealing with him, I've got a fat house to run. I've got to get up and go to work.
Yeah.
I've just got to get on with life. And it can be really intense. And especially when you haven't got professionals to kind of be like, to support and listen.
And can I ask, was your dad ever formally diagnosed with anything?
I do know that he had frontal lobe syndrome.
Okay.
And then some sort of
did they know about this before he died?
Yeah. So he was in and out of hospital because he had a few strokes.
Okay.
So that should have all been taken into consideration.
Yeah.
Like even us, I know they when I read into his documentation, it was a bit like, you know, when people have frontal lobe syndrome and they've had multiple strokes, their behaviour can change. Mm-hmm. Maybe if we were told about this, and I'm not just reading it now, we would have been able to manage things differently. Yeah. But again, when it came to my dad's care, no one sat down with us and had a family planning meeting about like how we feel. Even when he was, so he was sectioned, and there was no communication. He'd be like, oh, don't speak to this one. Don't speak to that one. Oh, you can speak to this one. Oh, you can speak to that one. He'd change all the time. And even to me, it was like, can you not see that this person does not have capacity? Like he doesn't have capacity. Even there was one time, I remember he went and hired this hotel and he had rented multiple rooms. And I told them about this.
Yeah.
Why are you allowing someone that has no control over their money? This person does not have capacity. They're moving erratic. Like even if you'd go into his property and the social work services would have seen, you know, those people like hoarders. Is it hoarders? Hoarder.
Yeah.
He would have so much stuff, just clutter, buying like loads of random stuff, no control over his money. And our thoughts and feelings weren't taken into consideration. It was just, it's been such a draining process that it's unfortunate because I do believe he is at peace now, but it's just, yeah, it's mad. I just feel like with the system that with statistics, when you look at it, black men are 4 times more likely to be detained under the Mental Health Act, and only 32% of black adults with mental health problems receive treatment. When you look at white people, it's 45% of adults that will actually receive the treatment that they need. I feel like black people in general, their mental health is really overlooked. And, you know, they do say, even though I mentioned about them saying to my dad that, you know, they'll pump you full of drugs, because it is a thing.
Yes. 100%.
We know that.
100%.
Like, the way they treat us is like we're just strong and they've got overdose us just to knock us out. And I remember my dad, when he was in the Maudsley or the Bethlem, I can't remember where he was, he used to send me pictures like of the staff, and the staff are eating our food, the staff are treating us bad. And it was really quite sad to think that this is how my dad's being treated and this is how other people are being treated. But I feel like my hands are so tied. Like I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
I really, really wanted to look after him, but his behavior was so temperamental. You didn't know how he was going to react. But I feel like the system continues to fail black men. So I really take my hat off to anyone who goes and visits their family in those sort of mental health institutions, because I couldn't bring myself to do it. And you know what? It's actually funny because I remember one day, it was Christmas, and there's a black movie. Have you seen it? It's a Christmas movie that they brought out. Jingle All the Way, Jingle Christmas.
Is it Eddie Murphy?
No, It's a really good movie. And I remember like the whole movie, and it was about this black man who designed toys, and my dad was an interior designer. And I just remember watching the movie and I thought, I need to just checking on my dad. And I thought, I'm going to go and see him. And I remember calling up the Bethlehem, Maudsley, wherever it was, Tyson ward. I remember the ward. And I remember calling them, and he was like, he's been discharged. And I didn't even know that. Like, how dare you not let anyone in the family know, regardless if he said it or not. I get that you have to respect people's confidentiality. Yeah. But at the same time, like, to me, it's mad, especially when you not consider the family's thoughts or feelings in this whole thing. The whole thing. The only time you've even considered what any of us have really had to say is when I've had to write you letters that you've half-hearted, not even responded to. I also think there's such a big issue with professionals not communicating. Yeah. So you've got the police that have got one thing, you've got the health services that have got one thing, you've got the social care, you've got the mental health. None of their systems talk to each other. No. So you've got this person that's suffering, going through it. And all of you guys are, so what's going on? So what's going on? You're asking this person, you're asking the family, if you do involve them, obviously we weren't, what's going on? Because who are they involved in? Because your systems don't talk to each other. Yeah. And what was frustrating for me, and I find frustrating, is I remember my dad saying, I've built a bond with this social worker. She's really good. And then they'd leave. And then he's having to retell his story again to another social worker and have to build that bond again. It's so hard, for somebody. I remember when I was in care, and I'd have a social worker, tell them what's going on. Have another social worker, tell them what's going on. It's draining on somebody that's kind of in the right mind. Yeah. Might as well someone that finds it hard to trust people, that is going through it, and people are coming in and out their life. And during this time when he passed, it was around COVID. So it was very hard to have that contact as it is. I've worked in local authority, and the amount of times I see that they are advertising for social workers, because they're so hard to come by, good ones, and they don't stay long, and they're not, I don't think they are dealt with in a way that they should be by local authorities in the first place. Oh, yeah, definitely. The job itself is very stressful. So it's like, I do feel kind of sorry for them. I've had them involved with my son. So I can understand from their side what conversations I've had with them, understand from their side. And it must be so difficult for both sides. And when they have to communicate with families as well, like, they can get stuck in the middle. Like you were saying, like, they should have told you that your dad was discharged, but at the same time, they have that obligation to your dad of his wants and needs as well. Exactly, but also because his behaviour was erratic, sometimes it will be really scary. And even though I knew that weren't him, I had to put out like the red alert that this man is mad right now. Mm-hmm. So they should have told me for my safety as well. Like, you literally just disregarded everything. And that's probably because you're not reading what's on the system before you're discharging someone into the community. And I also think it's about like cultural awareness as well. I know there's not enough social workers, and unfortunately, as you said, it's very hard to hold on to good ones, but it's about who you pair that person up with as well. Yeah. I remember he had like a black woman, and he was like, I could really open up to her. And then he said he had this English woman, a white lady who didn't understand, was kind of disregarding his feelings. And he was like, how I cannot open up to this person. So I kind of made the suggestion to the social services, do you mind, he's finding it quite difficult, as a black man, sometimes a proud black man, it can be difficult to be then talking to a white woman, who's quite about how you're feeling. But they just disregarded that, of course, as usual. And it was just really mentally draining dealing with these professionals, and it's still draining now. And as someone who, I work in adult social care and health, I've worked in children's social care, I feel like I will never take anyone's qualification away from them. It's absolutely amazing that people achieve and go to uni, go on to do further education. But I feel like there's not a lot of people with that actual lived experience. And that's why I am really passionate about like the work that I do, because I know this is real life shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you find and what I found, especially with working with social workers, is some of them, they become numb.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's just another person. It's just another person. And that actual real feel for why you may have got into this really goes out the window. And I find that really, really scary. I've always said, you see, the moment I stop caring about the work that I'm doing and the impact that my work has, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm gone, because this is real life. And what was really hard for me during like this whole period of my dad is I was working in the field. I was actually working in the borough that was looking after my dad. So I knew the social workers, the team managers. But, you know, as a black woman at the same time, or half Asian, half black, I wanted to go, listen, I would see some of them in meetings and be like, I really want to speak to you. But you see, sometimes you've got to be so mindful. Like, it's so sad that I've got to overthink everything I'm doing because actually this could impact my job.
Yeah.
It's been so hard, this whole process, and trying to stay strong through this whole thing has been mentally, emotionally draining. But I just feel like, as well as the professionals, it's the family in the community, because within the Black and Asian community, mental health is a taboo. You know, families hide, oh no, we don't want to talk about that. Or, oh no, he's probably just a bit, you know, maybe he's just going through a few things, but they don't want to link it to, maybe it's actually he's got depression, which is mental health. Maybe he needs extra support.
Yeah.
They just see it as, oh, you know,
a weakness.
He's a weak black man. Yeah. And no black man, no man, okay, let's just put it out there. No man don't want to be seen as a weak man.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, because this is how society has made things.
Yeah.
They've made it really hard for men to say, do you know what, I'm going through it and I need help. And also I think there's a lack of like actual education about mental health.
100%. Yes.
And what does mental health mean?
Yeah.
When is it I'm just feeling a little bit down, work's been hard? Or when is it actually there's a lot more going on here and I need to seek help?
I think as well, a lot of it stems from the stresses of today compared to the stresses of, let's say, 50 years ago are completely different. Now, I'm not saying nobody had depression like 50 years ago. It was probably hidden a lot better and people just didn't think about it. But the stresses that people deal with now are a lot higher than what they were back then. Like, men could provide for a whole family on a one wage. And own a home and like do all this stuff. Nowadays, the way society is, and also what the standard of what a man should be now. Like, you look on social media and like we talked about like women with body images, like now men with like seeing other men that are doing this and that, driving this car, have this home, have this type of family. And that's what they're seeing as a standard of what they should be. And if they're not at that standard, that alone can make a man feel inferior and cause a type of depression. And that's the same about the fact of there's so much more to be stressed about the cost of living. There's not many men that can turn around and say, yes, I can provide for my whole family on my one wage.
Yeah.
And own a home and all this stuff. It's so hard to own a home nowadays. So in that sense there, like the depression now, where we expect these men, these strong black men to not speak about how they're feeling and stuff, is based on the concept of back in the
days, like our parents' generation.
When we say our parents, like further than that, our grandparents. Yeah. It's like where the stresses were minimal. And probably if we look at society,
the stresses were different.
Yeah, they were different. They were. But I think there's so much
in your face now.
In your face, yes, 100%. And like I say, society, the way we've like been indoctrinated with social media and the expectations of people, it's completely different. And we're still expecting our men to be, and I say our men, not just black, our men in general, to just be strong.
And going back to family now, like even like my dad's funeral, we weren't allowed to talk about it. You know, it was like, oh, he's just passed away because he's sick. And I used to get so, like, it used to make me so angry that you keep saying he's sick. Why can't you just be honest? And at the same time, it was like, my son doesn't know, my children don't know what's happened. I'm having to keep everything under cover. I need to try and stay strong. And I've just got everyone like sending me flowers. Oh, we're so sorry. Why was he sick? Or, you know, what happened? We never knew he was ill. Yeah. And it used to infuriate me. And I remember being at the funeral now. And I said to my auntie, I need you to mention something about mental health. Like, I need you to mention something. And I can't remember what she said, but she did kind of mention it. And I don't know if people kind of clocked on at that point, but it's like, why is everyone so shamed? Like, the man's long gone, and you guys are still moving mad. Like, do you know how angry it actually got me at that point?
I can say one thing about that, because the same sort of thing happened with my dad when my dad died. Like, you cannot talk about the bad. I don't know if it's a thing in all minorities, but I do find in the black community, when someone dies, you put them on a pedestal. You don't speak a bad word against them.
You know, they say 1 in 4 people from an ethnic minority say that it brings shame on the family, you know, talking about mental health. And I first opened up about it when I done a video on Instagram, and I just remember I just opened up about it, and so many people reached out and they were like, oh my God, I'm so, you know, it's so nice for someone to talk about like their experience. So sorry what you've been through, you know, just bringing awareness. And now I'm very open about it. Fuck you guys in the nicest way possible. You have not been through what we've been through. We have a very small family, and it was so heavy on me and my mum and my brother to have to keep everything in, because we really knew what was going on. And my son, like, he loved, one thing I say about my dad, he was like the world's best granddad. Boy, did he know how to switch it on. But when kids are little, they don't see the madness. Yeah. When my son used to see my dad scooting around London like fucking super granddad, he's been, oh, my granddad's so fun, or he used to take him to the arcade. But I'm deep down, I knew something, you know, that's not right how you're behaving.
Yeah.
I think what was hard for me is I haven't fully been able to grieve this process, even still now. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like, I know people say suicide isn't selfish, but from my experience, it feels that way.
Yeah.
The long-term damage to the family is massive. And I feel like people really need to understand the actual ripple effect. I know that when you're in that mind, you probably don't care.
Yeah.
It's probably the last thing you're thinking about.
You think you're doing the best thing for everyone.
And I've had people say in my video, oh, you know, when he's in that mind, he probably, you know, wouldn't have, like, that's all that he cared about. But actually, I feel like there's so much emphasis on, oh, you know, when someone does something like that, you know, they're not being selfish. It's brave to do that. I get it's brave to do that. But actually, I think we need to start kind of sharing awareness on the impact of the family. I'm not seeing much about the impact on the family. I don't think I've ever seen someone actually sit down and say, do you know what the damage that you leave behind? As I touched on at the beginning, we're still going through the inquest process. So since my dad has passed, okay, 22, 23, 24, 25, 4 years, yeah. I think it was 2021 he passed. We're still going through the inquest process. And this means that you're sitting down, you're going through paperwork, you're trying to fill in blanks. Say, for example, the other day, I was asked, can you do us a pen portrait of your dad? I thought, what we want to know is we really want the coroner and everybody to know what he was like, you know, not just about his mental health history. And I think, do you think I've got the mental capacity to sit here and go through things? Oh, what we want to do is we just want to talk about, like, you know, what was the trigger point? When did you see things? I think I have spoken to you guys about this 5,000 times. 5,000 times, and I've still got to get up every day and I've got to get on with it, and I've got to go to work, I've got to look after my family, but at the same time I need to get through this process. And I don't know if people know about this whole inquest process, because I never even knew a process could take this long.
But I think your situation's a bit different when it comes like to an inquest, a death inquest. I think it's because of the fact that your dad was failed on so many different levels. They don't want to take any responsibility for it. That's why yours is taking so long and going. They want to find a way to get themselves out of it, because I've never heard of anyone else. Like I know a couple of people who have had like deaths by suicide. Their family have had to deal with it, and I've never known an inquest.
This has been going on for so long, and it is, again, professionals not communicating, information not recorded on the system. Oh, we can't provide this right now. Oh, we can't do that right now. Or we can't do this right now. Delaying. And where is, again, the consideration on the family?
Yeah.
Do you know how draining this is? And for me, it's been like, right, I just want to deal with it myself. I don't want to get my mum and brother involved. I'm not saying I'm like the strongest person ever, but I feel like I just have to deal with this. I don't want them involved. Like, my brother's younger than me. My mum was with this person her whole life. And it's heavy. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like my brother's still young. I want him to just focus. I know that he was like, he used to see my dad a lot more often than me just before he passed. So I know it's a lot. So I'm just trying to get on with it and have these meetings. Part of the meetings they probably don't know I have, but at least I'd say every other week I receive an email. Maybe once a month I have a meeting about it since he's passed, and it's heavy. And it's always when I get back from holiday. It's like, get back from holiday and then there'll be a meeting.
I can't imagine like how heavy that must be on you, because having to deal with that on top of the fact just your day-to-day life, like you're raising 2 kids, you're like running a home, working, running a business, we're doing the podcast, like you've got your own life just to kind of deal with on a day-to-day, and then having to deal with that of something that has been weighing on you and dragging along with you for the last 4 years.
Yeah, it's really difficult, but I do feel like a weight was lifted or part of this grieving process when I was able to tell my son. Because, do you know what, at the funeral, I felt really angry. First of all, because we couldn't really talk about it. And I remember my son being in like bits. And there was one point at his funeral that he couldn't walk. No, he literally couldn't walk. It was mad. And I just thought, I just want to be in my emotions right now, but I've got to stay strong. And you know how hard that is, like, just to always fucking be strong. I feel like I'm always being fucking strong.
Yeah.
Like, even though I explain, like I don't mind being strong, but sometimes it's just like, you need that moment just to cry.
Yeah.
Or I'd go down to, I've probably only been down to his grave probably 4 times since he's passed, because I feel angry. I go down there and I think, how the fuck? Like, why did we get here? And what annoys me about is with him is he always said he would never do this because of my son. He always said, I'm going to stay strong. I won't do nothing. Even in his doctor's note, that one thing I remember, I'm going to stay strong. I'm going to get through this. And I just feel like so let down, like that we didn't make it. Like, you're not here right now. And before my dad got ill, like growing up, I was my dad's princess. I was my dad's princess. And I always wished that he would just get better. I always hoped that he would get better and that we just get through things. It's sad because sometimes I watch on TikTok, people trying to help their parents through things, and I just felt like I couldn't do it. I tried years. It's not just a little bit of time, years. I just feel like for me, when I told my son, it was like, I can breathe. And my son was older, so he took it a lot better, but it was like carrying that for the whole time. It's been really, really hard. Yeah, I go down to his grave and I cuss him, man. I just think sometimes I walk around the house and I think, I can't believe you're not here. Like, all of this, you waited all this time. You could have just rode it out. I really wanted him to see my son get older. Because as I said, he was the world's best granddad. And I think what's hard as well is like knowing that, like, if I get married one day, I won't have my dad. I won't have my dad. But yeah. And I think that just so many milestones, like my 30th, I always thought they would be better for my 30th. It's funny because I was going to, if I'd done something, I wanted to invite him there. Obviously, I had that surprise birthday party, but that he was already passed by then. But yeah, my dad was my dad. He always had my back, like even through hard times. When my son was born, when everyone was like, oh, look at her, the devil child, he loved his grandson. Do you know what I mean? So, it's just, I wish that families just come together and, make it easy, support each other. I wish that health professionals just sorted it out. I wish the system didn't keep letting down black men. Yeah, the damage, the system is mad. And I think for me, working in it, like, there's so much I want to do.
Yeah.
This is why, like, I'm hoping to do my stuff privately and work with the public sector, social impact organisations, charities, to really drive that lived experience, because it's so important for people to really understand what it's like for people that are actually living through it, rather than someone that's just read a book and is saying, oh yeah, well, this is a situation.
Yeah. Because
even when you look at, like, my dad's inquest now, and you have the different solicitors that come together, they don't get it. They don't actually understand it. And then you've got, like, I sit there and I think with this inquest process, like, this is mental. Like, no one's talking to each other, and you've just got the family there riding the wave. Part of, like, my dad's death is because it was quite like a big thing. Like you mentioned, there was a lot of people involved.
Yeah.
They done a SARS, which is like a safeguarding adult review, where they get all the different professionals to come together and basically talk about their input with my dad. So anyone that's ever worked with him, or this is how they painted it to me, would be interviewed. So they'd have the managers together, they'd have the frontline staff together, and they'd all be interviewed on their
interactions with him.
And this lady was like, right, we're going to do this SARS. Obviously, it was through, my work at the time. Oh, we're going to do this SARS. And they make it sound so great.
Yeah.
But I just remember the lady, what was really frustrating about that SARS is a lady going, it's not a blaming game. Guess what? A family member does not need to know it's not a blaming game. Let them just feel how they're feeling and don't take it personally.
Yeah.
You're doing a job, they're grieving. Allow them to do that. I remember she used to say that, oh, it's not a blaming game. And I thought, you're really pissing me off. But because I work here, I've got, again, not be the angry black woman. I've really got to hold my emotions in. And it was so funny because obviously it's a SARS, so it's a big thing. So a lot of, like, senior people know.
Yeah.
Like, that's Priya's dad, by the way. And I remember someone going to me, I can't believe you're Priya. What? Because you didn't see me acting in a certain way. Like, you guys just saw me riding the wave at work. Do you get what I'm saying? Because I'm dedicated to my job.
Yeah.
Because I know that if I do a good job, it's really going to drive change. And I feel like there's not, different organisations have different benefits. But when I look, like, with work, when that person dies, you still have to get on. You have to go to work. What support is really there?
Yeah.
You get a little bit of bereavement leave and you just kind of get back to it. But when it comes to, I think with suicide, it's such a big impact. Like, it's not like, that person, we know they were ill, they were getting old. Like, they've actually done something crazy. The aftermath is insane. And I don't feel like there is enough support out there for families. And it's just been so draining. Do you know what I remember? When my when my dad passed and going back, like, remember the police knocked at the door?
Yeah.
When I did finally go to my dad's house, no one pre-warned us what we were walking into. I remember the police saying, oh, there were a few notes, but they weren't really readable. When I went in there, I could not believe what we walked into. I thought, what the hell is going on? Like, no one has been supportive in this process. This is mad. Like, the police have gone in there, you've seen all this, and you haven't thought to kind of really, like, go, do you get what I mean? Let us know.
Yeah.
Like, just be real about it. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like a report or something.
A report or something. Just so you know, there's a lot going on in there. You didn't go into detail. Like, you didn't care, really. And I remember saying, I'm not doing this. Like, I went to the house and I see one note and it was like, look ahead, not look after me. And let me tell you something. My dad was in supported accommodation when he was released. And they reckon he had been passed for probably about a month before he was found. So if you're in supported accommodation, people are meant to be checking in on you.
Yeah.
And when we went to the door, there was medication piled up at the front door that you could see. So if someone had come and checked, they should have flagged up and said, there's somebody in there with mental health that has not been taking their medication. We need to get in there. Okay, so imagine if I went down there, because I was actually going to go down there. If I saw all of that, I would end up booting down the door, and what would I have walked into? What would I have walked into? And that plays over and over in my head. They say only 1 in 3 families that have been impacted by suicide are offered specialist support. And considering how long I've been going through this and my family, I've not received any. I've not received anything. Like, all of that trauma. And that's how he went out. And yeah, I really hope that professionals, family, everyone has their part to play. And it's so important that families are included in care planning, that there's real accountability when it comes down to system failures, not these improvement plans or these. Once I mentioned a SAR earlier, is completed, they then have this plan that they pull together. And basically they're meant to then follow things on this plan. But does that really happen? You know, I feel like within the local government, they love these plans.
Oh, yeah.
And what is a plan? Is it just another tick box exercise? So we pull together a plan. But what really happens?
Is there a review of that plan?
Is there a review of the plan?
Like to show,
Do you talk to the family to see how maybe their input and their lived experience could support that plan? Do you get what I'm saying? There needs to be real accountability, and also cultural training for, like, the police, GPs, even the mental health staff. There needs to be a lot more training on how to deal with people, especially from ethnic minorities, and also, like, better crisis support. Oh, look, I thought this was like my nipple or something. I was like, what's going on? You got to laugh in it, otherwise you fucking cry. But there's got to be, like, better crisis response and a faster inquest process. No one should have to go through this process, because this is mentally draining. This is torture. And even when we get to the end of this, at the beginning it was like, oh, it's so good that they're putting together this process, they're really looking at things in detail. But now it's like, and then what? And then what? We sit there, we go through all the horrific ordeal again, because it's going to be, people are going to get called up, people are going to have to be explaining their are going to be having their views on my dad. Like, it's going to be so intense that you're then putting a whole family through that all over again. The process needs to be a lot faster, and there needs to be open conversations with people within the Black and Asian community, and by people, from people with lived experience, rather than just some random professional who's coming in talking about it and people just shutting off. Do it jointly.
And I think as well, like, where a lot of our audience are mainly female as well, I think it is also our responsibility for the men that are in our lives. And that's not just partners, that can be our children, our brothers, uncles, granddads. Check in and speak, like, give them that safe space to be able to talk about it. Don't always expect them to be the strong man. Like we were saying about with the ethnic minority communities, there is this stigma against mental health. We've got to break that down within ourselves, and it starts at home.
It definitely starts at home. And I think it's really important to have those conversations, because like going back to my son, when this was all going on, I just felt so angry that I couldn't tell him anything. And I feel like that was rubbing off like how I was getting annoyed with him, because you just didn't get what was going on and why my emotions have been all over the place. And sometimes he'd be down and I'd be like, why are you crying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm going through right now? And now I am really more conscious, like, how are you feeling? I do sit down with my son now and I go, because life can come at, you get so busy, and I go, like, how are you feeling?
Yeah.
When he does get upset sometimes, even though sometimes it'd be over something stupid, like, I'm going to take your phone, you wind me up. And he'd be like, no, I'm like, why are you crying? But sometimes you just got to let people ride their emotions.
Yeah, 100%.
And it is really important to talk. If you have, as Kay said, talk to the men around you, talk to the women around you, because, women suffer as well. I really hope this can kind of spread some awareness. It's been a bit all over the place, because in my head, I'm thinking like, I don't even know how to get my words out around this topic, because it's so intense.
And I think like what we've spoken about previously, this is a trauma for you.
It's a trauma. And
you're still processing it, or you're still going through the inquest.
I'm still going through it, and I don't know if when that inquest is over, am I going to feel some closure? Is that when the grieving really begins? Because I am, no one knows. I don't think anybody knows what it's really like. And people probably, and I think also people are probably like, yeah, but you were never really close with your dad. Because you were in care. We had that bad rut. Yeah, we did. A few years, like mainly towards like my teenage years. But before that, that was my dad. He opened his shop. I'd be there setting up with him, painting the walls. When my mum was at work, he'd be the one that would be taking me to school, doing my hair. Just all of those moments that was my dad. Like, he is I will never, ever be able to fully get over this. And I think especially losing him while I'm still so young, it's traumatic. It's so traumatic.
Yeah. I lost my dad at 17 and I didn't have the best relationship with him, but it's still very traumatic. And again, we spoke about this previously about trauma brain. You can't remember. For years, I could not say a nice thing about my dad after he died. I was so angry with him. I was 17, just before my 18th birthday. And I was so angry at the way he died. And I didn't forgive him for it. And again, I think I've been to my dad's grave 2 or 3 times. So angry. And it was only when I went through therapy and I fully processed it all, I let go of all that anger and I forgave him. And I understood him, I think, as an adult. I think at 17, it was I couldn't understand it.
It's hard, isn't it? Yeah. But I feel like as an adult, that's what sometimes at this age, it makes it a lot harder. Because I'm not an adult where you expect to kind of like your parents kind of slowly be dying. But I'm at the age where it's like, I get it, but I'm still so young. Why did you have to go? I was meant to at least kind of get older.
I get really upset. So I'm not a big crier, but the one thing that will bring me to tears is watching videos on TikTok of dads and their sons. It makes me cry every time. Like, I'm literally a big baby. I see, or like kids with their granddads. That there is, because my dad never got to meet my son. And when the way my dad was and the way my son is, they would have had the best relationship. And it breaks my heart that they never got to meet.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, them videos, I'll bawl my eyes out seeing them. And it's like, it took me a long time to get over that trauma. Now you can ask me about my dad and I can remember so many amazing things about him, but I couldn't for years. If you ask me anything about my dad between the ages of like 17 and 30, I would have told you there's only one thing I would have said about him.
Yeah, see, I remember things about him. But yeah, I just wish I could hug him. I wish I could brush his hair when he wasn't well. I remember brushing his hair. And can I nick a fag? Fucking, I don't want to nick my fag, and then you've got your menthol fag. And yeah, I just wish he could see Kieran now. He would be so proud. Like, he would be so proud. And I know that he's proud of me, and I'm trying all I can. But yeah, man, before you do anything silly, think about your family. Think about your family. Think about the impact. People do care. People do care. Get the help that you need. I know it's hard because, you know, unfortunately, the system doesn't make it easy. But talk to your family. Talk to your friends. There are people out there. There are really good services available. I'm going to put some on the screen. Like, I have to say Mind. My dad mentioned them a lot and that they were good. And Hair Us. Yeah, there's lots of services out there, and it's just about finding one that works for you. Everyone's got things going on, you know, and yeah, just think before you do anything silly, because it really does have a long-term impact. And once you do it, that's it. There's no going back.
And if anyone has been affected by any of the topics that we've discussed today, please feel free to reach out to us so we can, if we can't help, we can
direct you,
to a service that can. Please stay safe out there and know that you are loved.
You are loved. You are cared for. You are safe. And everything will be okay. Everything always works out. I feel like even when you're in your darkest time, you're in that dark time for a moment.
Yeah. I think the one thing that always got me through was once you hit rock bottom, the only way is up.
The only way is up, exactly. So yeah, right. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing with us, Priya.
Yeah,
I know this has been hard for you, but we appreciate it.
Yes, thank you for listening. Right, take care, guys.
Bye.
I'm gonna go have a glass of wine now.